Hello Aquarius, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling messages for all three sides of this connection, so we'll be looking at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we'll be looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps, if anything, and leave what does not. Last thing, any information on the extended reading for this reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Aquarius, let's jump on in. Let's start, Aquarius, with looking at your side of this connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. This is Aquarius's side of this connection. Ooh. Deja vu. And then there's the sparks. Okay. I feel like this person and your connection to this person is a dynamic that I feel like you've become very familiar with. Now with this sparks energy, I feel like you do feel like chemistry with this person. I feel like there is probably a lot of feelings here, probably, a lot of exciting kind of feelings, in the beginning of any connection, when you feel that dopamine rush and the serotonin and the love drugs, all that are kind of bouncing around in your brain. Like, I feel like that was definitely, or maybe even still is definitely here in this connection. However, this deja vu card represents that this person is a reflection of some sort of cycle for you. And a cycle that has kept you from being able to really, truly experience the love that you are deserving of, but ultimately desiring. And I think that as we kind of dive into whatever this cycle is, it can help provide you with a little bit of clarity. Because I feel like, there's that passion card. It's like there's sparks, there's passion, there's excitement, but then I don't know, there's something about maybe it's not sustainable, or it's like then things just kind of die out, or you get ghosted, or they just up and leave or something. Because it kind of feels like a cycle of, in a way, like getting your heart broken or feeling brokenhearted. This person's energy toward Aquarius. This person's energy toward Aquarius. Those didn't turn all the way around. There we go. Trapped and ego. Ooh. Ego with trapped. So this person, it kind of feels like their ego is running the show. And our ego isn't necessarily, I feel like it can be really demonized in the spiritual community, but it's not to be demonized. Your ego's primary goal, and we all have one, but our ego's primary goal is to keep us alive. It's survival. And sometimes the reason that can be an issue is because our ego likes to essentially repeat patterns and dynamics that aren't necessarily what are best for us, but that make us feel a sense of security because there's a familiarity. It's like, well, I've been here before. I know I can survive this. And I feel like that can show up in one of two ways. We can ultimately start to look for love in people who don't provide it to us, or we can push it away from people who do. And when we struggle to experience or to open up to the love that we're truly deserving of, our ego will actually push it away because it's unfamiliar territory. So when you meet someone who is in kind of that survival mode mentality and you try to show up with love and support and care for them, but they've never, it's like out of the realm of what they're used to experiencing, their primary goal is going to be, how can I survive at the end of the day? So this is something that I'm not used to. I don't know how to process this. I don't know how to receive this. So instead, I'm going to push it away, or I'm going to kind of close myself off to reciprocating in some way. And I'm not going to lie, Aquarius, it kind of feels like you have a tendency of attracting people that do this, which means in the beginning of the connection, it's exciting. There's those sparks and all those wonderful feelings. But then as things start to get deeper, as you start to try to get to, know each other, or the connection starts to try to evolve, you might experience the other person start to close themselves off, start to push you away, start to disconnect from the connection. Now, the biggest thing to understand is that behavior doesn't have anything to do with you or your value. In fact, like with this trapped card, I feel like this person is kind of trapped in their own karmic cycle. So basically, the way that I'm seeing this is both of you are experiencing an individual cycle in this connection, which is creating kind of like an overall cycle for the connection. And I'll explain what I mean by that as we keep pulling here. But let's see, truth of this connection between Aquarius and this person. Because it feels like this person can't put, their ego aside. You have euphoria, then you have soulmate recognition. Okay. And then grief and sadness and healing. Okay, so this connection brings for you a lot of really high highs. I feel like the euphoria that you feel when you're with this person is like unmatched. And I feel like that is actually part of the problem. Now, with this soulmate recognition card, I feel like there is kind of this level of like soul recognition in this connection. When we talk about just the concept of a soulmate in general, it's really important to remember that there is not one person on this planet that is when you recognize someone as a soulmate, that's not saying it has to work out with that person or there's never going to be anybody else, because we have plenty of soulmates, so many of them, and anybody can kind of fill that space that we're looking for. Now that's not me saying like everyone's replaceable, things of that nature, but we don't want to get wrapped up in one specific connection and say it has to work with this person, because if it doesn't work with this person, then it's not gonna, I'm never gonna be happy, or I'm never gonna be loved. Because when we put a connection on a pedestal like that, we have a tendency to do things that don't align with us, but instead align with the connection, which can also ultimately also lead to further kind of heartbreak and things that we're trying to avoid in the first place. So I feel like there's a lot that you're needing to know about this connection that isn't just what meets the eye. And I think that almost being open to different perspectives when it comes to this connection is going to be really important, which isn't always easy to do. But let's see, let's dive into this a little bit deeper. But yeah, I feel like things feel really, really good when you guys are together. And I feel like those high highs then take you to like some equally low lows. It's like, it felt so wonderful, but now, man, like this is so painful. It's like when their ego kicks in, that's where the pain starts to happen. But let's see, Aquarius, this is for your side of this connection, clarifying deja vu. The Ace of Wands, Two of Wands in reverse. Is there anything else? I mean, this is kind of the Seven of Cups, and there it is. The confusion, the overwhelm, the not knowing what to do. Because with this Ace of Wands, again, I kind of get this, there's this passion here, there's this chemistry, there's this excitement, there's this draw that you have to this person that almost it's like clouds your judgment in a way. And we've all been there, so it's nothing to be ashamed of. I think that sometimes when we have really strong feelings for somebody else, we kind of let them get away with things that we wouldn't necessarily let other people get away with, or we look past some red flags, or we, kind of put on the rose-colored glasses and we see them through the lens of everything that we know that they can be. And although seeing the good in people isn't necessarily a bad thing, it can become an issue whenever we're ignoring the way that they make us feel. So if if you're dealing with someone who you have strong feelings for, but yet they make you feel sad and alone and heartbroken and not chosen and not loved and not valued, like that's where the decisions should be made, is from the place of knowing that you deserve better than that. But I feel like it can get really hard whenever those feelings that we have for someone are really strong. And again, the problem arises when we prioritize how we feel about someone over how somebody makes us feel. And I feel like that's where kind of the Two of Wands in reverse, this is, things not necessarily aligning with your highest good. I feel like there's something karmic going on here in terms of like what this connection's purpose is in your life. Let me get more for this person's energy, clarifying ego. This person's energy toward, oh my goodness, Aquarius, clarifying ego. The Eight of Cups. So I do feel like this person has a tendency to kind of walk away. Maybe walk away when things get hard. Oh yeah, because there's the running energy. Walk away when things get hard. Walk away when things get deep. Walk away when they feel triggered. And I feel like that is, first of all, that just shows a lack of commitment, of not being willing to work through things with you or to work on the connection itself. But second of all, the biggest thing that I feel like you're needing to know about this person's behavior and like their tendency to like run or walk away or, not choose the connection or whatever the case is, that is 100% them just trying to protect themselves. It's not an indication of your value or the fact that you're not enough or that there was something wrong with you that made this person not choose you. I feel like, in fact, this connection was very good. And like, I feel like you gave a lot of really wonderful energy in this connection. But again, it feels like this person, it's like they wouldn't let you love them. It's like they wouldn't let you, they didn't want you to get too close. Now, the other thing that our ego will do is when we struggle to love ourselves, our ego will construct like this identity of who we want to be seen as, because that's the version of ourself that we believe is lovable, because we don't believe that our true self is lovable. So when you're dealing with people who have that, who act in that way, and you start to get too close and you start to break down those walls and you start to see who they really are, that's going to spook them, and that's going to make them go, whoa, you're getting too close. You see me for who I really am. I don't really want to, open up to the potential of rejection or heartbreak or loss in some way. So instead, I'm just going to run away from this. I'm just going to not deal with it altogether. And that is 100% on them. Now, the interesting thing is this is the second time we're seeing this Two of Wands in reverse energy, which means that both people in this connection are making decisions that don't necessarily line with their highest good. And I think that it's hard because sometimes we can always see how like somebody else is, running away from a connection, because they don't feel lovable or they don't feel good enough for love. But sometimes we can't really see how we are looking for love in people who don't know how to provide it for us. And that can actually lead to, because again, I taught two individual cycles, right? So it kind of feels like there's this cycle of looking for love and people who tend to run away from it. So you have this cycle, and then this person has the cycle of running away from love, even though it's there for them. Now that those individual cycles create just an overall cycle for the connection, which is kind of this chaser-runner dynamic, which means here, Aquarius, that I feel like you've been or were so willing to do what you could to make this connection work. It's almost like you were fighting this person to let them, or let them let you love them. And I feel like that eventually led to some sort of a separation here. But let's see, truth of this connection between Aquarius and this person. This euphoria feeling can be really challenging in connections, because it's like, oh wow, you know, I feel so good when I'm with them, or when when they're around me, or like when things are good. And I feel like, yeah, Queen of Swords. So here you are, Aquarius, whether you are male or female. And then the Seven of Wands in reverse. So when we feel strongly about someone, we might even tend to lack boundaries. We might tend to not stand up for ourselves, or speak up about our needs, or be honest about how we feel, because we fear so much about losing the other person, because our feelings are so strong, that instead our decisions are coming from this place of how can I make this connection work, instead of how can I make sure that I am being valued in the way that I deserve to be valued. So there is definitely a karmic lesson associated with this connection. It could very well be a karmic connection. It could have a karmic cycle within the connection. But let's see, overall theme of this reading. What does Aquarius need to know in order to move forward in alignment with their higher self? Overall theme of this reading for Aquarius. There will be a return. I knew we were going to see that. And I feel like this person, well, do we need to see anything else here? And I knew we were going to see this, because this is a cycle. Pride keeps us apart. Pride and ego, I feel like, kind of go hand in hand. And I feel like that's what happens here, is it's like this person feels, you know, there are feelings in this connection. I feel like that's for sure, but it's almost as if their pride and their ego kicks in, which causes them to like get spooked, to run, to, you know, distance themselves from this connection, and then maybe they even have a tendency to come back. And you have a tendency to go, okay, let's see if we can make this right, because it feels so good. But the feeling so good shouldn't override but I know how this goes, because I feel like this person it's almost like they're unpredictable, in the sense that you're like, I don't know if I can really trust what you're going to do, but I feel like yet at the same time they're pretty predictable. Like, I feel like you could probably predict how things are going to go here, and I think that that's why you then end up brokenhearted, because you pour yourself into the opportunity that this connection provides you, and then all of a sudden you turn around and this person's gone because, you know, they got spooked, or whatever the case is. So let's see what is happening here. Aquarius, your side of this connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. This is Aquarius's side of the connection, please. Eight of Pentacles in reverse. Putting in a lot of work, but feeling like it's not getting you anywhere. Five of Wands. I feel like, ooh, okay. Yeah, you're in a tough place when it comes to this connection. I feel like you're constantly fighting to feel seen, heard, valued, loved. It's like, okay. Hang on. Let me try to break this all down. Eight of Pentacles in reverse, Five of Wands, Eight of Wands in reverse, Judgment. So there's a need to recognize kind of a deeper truth of what's going on here, because I feel like you have a right to feel the way that you do. I feel like you're frustrated with this person, with the way that they've acted. However, I feel like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself in some way of like, well, what could I have done different? Or how could I have been better? Why did, you know, this person run from this connection and choose this person over me? Or why did this happen? And I feel like that's not the way that the universe is actually asking you to view things, because a lot of what you're experiencing in this connection is a cycle that is coming from this place of you not believing that you can have the love that you deserve and desire. And so there's a part of you, whether or not you realize it, that tends to seek it, and people who are like this, who run from it, who push you away, who don't let you in. And that is because there's this part of you that almost, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's a mirror. You know how I said that this person pushes it away because they fear getting hurt? Well, this dynamic has become so familiar for you that it's almost like the dynamic of chasing love and people who don't provide it for you has become like a sense of security in a way. And I feel like you would be like, no, there's no way. Like, I don't want to deal with people like this. I want to attract the people that I deserve and desire. But I feel like the reason that this connection in particular is so important, and like what it's trying to teach you is so important, is it because it's trying to break you out of looking for similar dynamics. I feel like you get very comfortable in the chasing position. Now, maybe even you chase until you get to a place where you actually get the connection, and then once the chase is over, then you get bored. And a lot of times what we don't realize is that is a result of us feeling like we are only worthy of love if we are doing something to prove ourselves for it. So when we chase love, that's our brain kind of trying to say, if you try hard enough, if you show this person how lovable you are and how worthy you are and how much you bring to the table, like, then they'll love you. Then you'll show them that they'll love you. And then once you show them that they'll love you, then you're going to finally feel lovable. But the problem is that nobody can make us feel lovable. So then you go back to searching for love in people who run from it, just like in the mirror is like almost, it's glaring. It's like this person then does almost the exact same thing, except for they push it away in people who do show up with it. So both of you kind of have these individual dynamics or karmic cycles, of looking for love in the wrong places. It's just that you're seeing it through the lens of how they're acting. Because to you, you're like, well, I don't see why you would run away from someone who is here to love you or support you or, give you all that you're looking for. Like, why are you pushing me away? But then on the flip side, it's kind of like the need to ask yourself, why are you chasing love in somebody who is making it so challenging for you to be loved? And I'm not saying that from the sense of, why are you doing that, Aquarius? You're so stupid. You should know better. Okay, I'm saying that from a place of like, there's always a way to redirect that mirror toward ourselves so that we can see what the deeper truth is, so that we can see what something is trying to show us, because this person is a reflection of like you in a way. There's a mirror here. Now, a lot of times people can be like, yeah, that's my twin flame. Like we're deeper mirrors and this is meant to happen so that one day we can be together. I encourage you not to get too lost in that concept either, because a lot of times the purpose of a twin flame connection actually isn't romantic union, but union of self, which can lead you to the love that you deserve. It just might not be in the person that you're dealing with. So trying to separate what this means for you versus like what it means for them, because you might be able to look at this person and be like, yeah, their ego protects them from love by, causing them to push away love and someone or people who provide it for them. And it's like, but you could say the same thing. Your ego protects you from getting hurt and from actually receiving the love that you deserve by chasing it in people who don't provide it for you. Both of you are experiencing not receiving the love that you deserve and desire because of your own individual cycles. So it's really interesting because it's almost as if you might be able to recognize this person's cycle, but you're needing to recognize your own. And I feel like I probably lost a lot of you because I feel like a lot of people don't want to look at their role in things. It's always easy to kind of look at, no, this person does that they do this, they affect me in this way. But, we don't really heal, grow, evolve, expand, change, or attract better for ourselves until we start to look at what's within our control. And when we get frustrated at other people for not changing, there's usually a part of us who isn't changing. We're usually frustrated with ourselves for not changing in some way. So let's see. This person's energy toward Aquarius. What does Aquarius need to know about this person's energy toward them? Because remember, at the very beginning, when we looked at that overall energy, we saw that Two of Wands in reverse energy twice, which is like lack of alignment or doing things that don't really align with your highest good. So both people in this connection are doing that. It just, I feel like, is easier for you to see how this person is doing it. This person's energy toward Aquarius. The Nine of Cups. So there is a desire here. I feel like that's what's so difficult, is this person does very much desire the love that you provide them, but they're so afraid of getting hurt that they push it away. You're so afraid of getting hurt that you chase it. Seven of Swords, I definitely feel like this person is hiding who they really are. I feel like they're trying to kind of put on this mask. Like I said, their ego is trying to put on this mask that makes them feel more lovable, that makes them feel more worthy and more deserving. And you know what? I honestly, there's that Knight of Swords again. I feel like you got too close. I feel like you started to uncover, and maybe you're like, no, I see who this person really is and I love them anyway. But that, when other people struggle to love themselves, they're not going to believe that anybody else loves them. They're going to always think that they're, that you don't really know them, or that if you get to know them, you won't love them. But I feel like that's what's so challenging for you, is you're like, no, I do love this person. Like, I see through the mask, I see through the ego, I see it, I see who they are, and I love them anyway. And that's why it's so frustrating for you, because you're like, why won't they let me? Like, why won't they let me love them? Well, people can only give and receive love to the extent that they love themselves. So when we're struggling with attracting people into our life that aren't letting us love them in the way that we would like, which ultimately would lead us to being loved in the way that we deserve, we're usually attracting people who are reflecting in some way the lack of love that we have for ourselves, because our relationships are a reflection of how much we love ourselves. Your relationships with other people, and this is like hard truth central, your relationships with other people are a reflection of how much you love yourself. Now, I don't say that because I want you to feel bad about yourself, or because there's no need for like shame or any of that. But I remember I literally remember exactly where I was when I first heard your relationships with other people are a direct reflection of how much you love yourself. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And I like immediately started just transforming my relationships from that day forward, because I realized that I was accepting so much less than what I deserved from the people around me, or I was chasing love in people who didn't provide it for me, because I was looking for other people to love me in the ways that I wasn't loving myself. And when that changed, and when that shifted, that's when I started attracting the right kind of people. But the problem is, we, have a tendency to really desire to be loved by people who struggle to love, because there's a part of us that thinks if we can prove we're lovable enough, then that means that we can prove to ourselves, like if we can prove to that person that we're lovable enough for them to change and for them to open up, then that means that we can prove to ourselves that we're lovable enough. So there's always a mirror, and this connection is very mirrored. I feel like the energy is very much, it's like all the things that you see that this person does, they pull away from, or they push away love, or, they don't like people getting too close, like all of those things. I feel like you could probably direct that back to yourself in some way. For a while, I was dealing with a emotionally abusive connection. And this person was, they were horrible to me in so many ways. And I dealt with it way longer than I should have, but that connection ended up being one of the best things that ever happened to me, because it was the first time that I started to realize that we accept the love that we think that we deserve. And I remember in that connection, I was fully aware that this person was treating me poorly. I was fully aware that I was in an unhealthy relationship, but there was a part of me that thought that if I stuck around, or if I stayed, or if I showed this person, because I had so much empathy for them. So I was like, if I can show this person, that they're lovable and that they're deserving of all this love that I have to give, then they're going to see that I'm lovable, and then happily ever after, right? And I believed this person was my twin flame, and I stayed in this connection and I fought for it until like one day I quite literally couldn't anymore, because I was just at this point where I realized that I was consistently trying to get somebody to change and to choose me who was refusing to choose themselves or change for the better for them. And when I finally started to look at how the fact that I was getting frustrated at that person not changing was a reflection of how I was getting frustrated of me not choosing better for myself, I stayed in this cycle with this person, chasing love and begging for it, and sometimes like literally begging to be loved and to be treated well. And until I kind of broke out of that, I realized that there are people out there who don't know how to love well. And until we learn to identify those people and to protect ourselves from those people, we will get stuck in cycles of chasing love in the wrong people. So, I do feel like, yes, this person desires what you have to provide here, but they are not at a place emotionally where they have the ability to receive and give back the love that you are deserving of, which probably means there's some divine protection going on here. And I feel like if you're kind of willing to look at it from that perspective, and again, I feel like I probably lost a lot of people and not everyone is, I think that you'll open yourself up to some of that deeper healing that can help drive you toward better connections, because you deserve people who show up for you, who love you, who let you love them. Because it's a privilege to be loved by you. It's a privilege to experience your energy. Like that, you deserve people in your life who make you feel that way. So in between the connection, you have Euphoria with the Seven of Wands in reverse. We're going to dive deeper into the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Thank you so much, Aquarius, as always, for your support of my channel. I do obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things that you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Aquarius.